heck? This guy's fighting like a champ. What is going on, Catterman and Catterwomen? It has been a while. Today I want to talk to you about a special time of the year in which I'm targeting channel catfish in rivers that are tidal. Now we're just on the cusp of the spring and the water's about 42 degrees Fahrenheit right now. And as you can see behind me, I'm on the beautiful Delaware River here in central New Jersey, and we've got some special baits that are getting wrapped around the camera right now, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. So first off, let's talk about rigs, let's talk about setups, and then let's catch some catfish. When it comes to rigs with catfishing, you can go various styles, and the most important, or should I say the most used one, is just a Carolina rig, which is literally just usually having a weight on your main line, going down to a stopper bead, and then to a barrel swivel. So what we do then is we go down to the hook and the bait. As you can see, it's a nice piece of gizzard shad, and we've got the head on a big 8-aught circle hook right here. But when it comes down to the smaller rods I've got here, and I'm using all spinning reels today, we've got a nice smaller chunk of gizzard shad here on a 7-aught circle hook, and then another piece right over here on as well a 7-aught hybrid circle hook. So what you can see is I've got a modified Carolina rig, and what I've done is I've actually taken a lead and an extra barrel swivel, and I call this a snag resistant bottom rig. I've also attached a bobber right here about 2 inches up from the hook, which is called a Santee Cooper rig. Now this keeps the bait off of the bottom and makes it easier for the fish to find it. It's also really important to read the river when you're fishing these tidal rivers. And so what I've done is I found a spot. Since the water's changed, now the tide is coming in, the water's going upstream. When tide is going out, of course, it's going down and the river's following its normal path. So we've got a pool right over here, like a little entry canal into a little cove. And I love these kind of spots because as the tide comes up, predatory fish like channel catfish and other types of catfish too, like blues or flatheads, which we're going to talk about in another video, they come up to feed when the tide comes up because it lets them get into the shallows where a lot of the bait fish are hanging out trying to avoid predation.
I personally usually start fishing at incoming tide because I can find spots where there's really cover for these fish to get out of the current. At outgoing tide, the current can really rip, so it's best to find really deep pools that are giving these fish cover from the current, where they can also ambush bait fish or anything that comes down through the current.
So we're going to put a couple baits here in the shallows, and we're going to put one out just in the channel to see maybe some of the bigger fish are still down in their wintering holes. So let's place the baits in different locations. Let's get to fishing. Oh, and before I forget, any of the gear that I'm using is going to be down in the description with links. So if you want to check that out, feel free to click down there. And make sure to subscribe to the channel for future videos. Let's catch some springtime tidal channel catfish. And as every fishing session starts, that's what I call the lucky catfish call, and it always gets me fish.
Cosmic.
Now, while I do love fishing with gizzard shad, and especially frozen gizzard shad in the spring, you can also use creek chubs, sunfish, white perch. You know, find out what bait fish is in that water and use that as your bait. And if you want to freeze it to have a wintry effect, then go for it and do it.
Now, the reason why I like using frozen gizzard shad in the springtime is very simply because of this. If you have gizzard shad in your water body that you're fishing, they usually die off because of cold shocks every winter. And during the spring, the dead gizzard shad get thawed up. So something changes about the amino acids in the meat and the smell, and it really makes these catfish hone in on the dead frozen gizzard shad. Alright, so once we start catching fish and we start determining a pattern, you know, I usually do one rod in the deep part, one rod on the ledge between the deep part and the shallows, and then one in the shallows. whichever one gets hit more often, you're going to start noticing one gets hit way more often than the other. You should start putting your baits there when you start getting 2 or 3 bites there more than the other spots. Now here in New Jersey, we've got laws that we cannot use more than 3 rods per person, so it works out perfectly for me. 1 in the deep part, 1 on the ledge, and 1 in the shallows. Another thing to also be aware of is that this cove, the way that it works is it actually allows the current to kind of get stuck over here, so that there's not as much current, because when the water's this cold, these fish really are not trying to expend too much energy in the current. All right, we got a bite, guys. Yep, there's a fish on the bait. So what I usually do is I'll pick up the rod and I'll let him take some line, and I'll just see if he pulls it out. He's still on it, yep. But he's just slowly picking at it. Nope, he doesn't have it. All right. Sometimes I'll do that if I don't feel any more bites. I'll see if he's still lying on it or sitting on it. If they're a little lethargic, you're gonna see like this, like that, 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 that. But the bigger ones will usually take it and just run with it. So what you can do in that instance is pull out some line and just leave about like 8 inches of slack in the line, so he can pull a little line, because these are circle hooks, so you want him to go in the opposite direction as you, and then you can set the hook by just simply reeling pretty quickly. That's how you set a circle hook. You don't do the jab back like you would with a settable hook, unless of course you're using the Hooker's Terminal Tackle Mad Catter hooks, which are a hybrid. They're a mix between a circle hook and a settable hook. We got a fish, guys. There we go. He finally took it. That was pretty aggressive too. Oh, that's a big one, guys. Whoa. Yeah, that was right on the ledge. He came in for a strong. Okay, so they're not that lethargic then. All right, let's see this beautiful channel catfish. Here he comes. Ooh, that's not a bad one. That's definitely not bad. Oh, what a beauty. Okay, so the tide definitely didn't bring them into the shallows yet, so they're still on the ledge. That's a oh wow, it's a beautiful channel catfish. So make sure you always wet your hands before you touch these fish. This is a beautiful tidal river springtime channel catfish. Let's let them go. All right, buddy, here you go. You're free to go home. All right, so we still have the bait. Perfect, and let's cast that right back out to where we were, right on that ledge. See, and because I gave him that about 8 inches of slack line, he was able to pull it, swim away, and the hook set itself already. Never mind, guys, we got a fish on the Paragee too. Now this one feels like a channel catfish. I guess we're gonna find out in a moment over here, depending upon how it runs. Took a while for this fish to dedicate. Another nice, beautiful channel catfish. That's a fat one too. Real fat. All right, buddy, come on down. This is definitely a heftier channel. Oh wow, look at that, guys. Barely in the side of the mouth too. That's a beautiful channel catfish. Let's let it go, as it's croaking, which means it wants to go home. There you go, buddy. There he goes. He doesn't really know where he's going. That was good. That was a nice tug. That was only once though, but let's see if it'll come back. They usually come back. Yep, there we go. There we go. He's messing with the bait right now. Not on yet. Let's see if he comes back. Oh yeah, he's back. Oh, he dropped the bait again. Back on it. Oh yeah. Oh, he dropped it again. He's like hunting the bait down. Back for it. Oh yeah. We got him, guys. Oh, whoa, okay. What the heck? This guy's actually pulling drag. Whoa, okay. Whoa. What the heck is this? Guys, what the heck? Are you serious right now? If that's a striper, oh, no way. Wow. I don't know, it's just kind of fighting really weird. Let's see. Now this stretch usually does produce pretty big channel. What the heck? This guy's fighting like a champ. What the heck? Guys, this is a really big fish. No way, that's a striped bass, guys. That's a striper. That's a striped bass. Oh my God, I got a striper. They're already here. Yes! Guys, it's a striper. Oh, the spring run has started. No way. What? Guys, that is a striped bass. That is insane. Oh my God, they're here. They're here. That is a beautiful striped bass. Oh my God, guys. That is a beautiful striped bass. Oh my God, this is amazing. That's a beautiful striped bass, guys. Let me get them wet, and then we're gonna see if we can catch some more. Wow. That's the good thing about the springtime here in the Delaware too. The stripers come up, you can catch them on cut bait. All right, let's let this guy go, guys. Make sure you give him ample time to go. They're gonna try to swim away right away. Don't let them. Okay, there we go. That's amazing. I gotta tell you something, that was absolutely beautiful. I love catching stripers in the springtime. I think they're so much fun to catch, and they fight so hard too. And oftentimes what you can do is, you can be fishing for channel catfish in the spring in these kind of rivers, and you also get that beautiful surprise. And that was a gorgeous fish. Like, they look beautiful. It's important to remember that you do not harvest these fish while they are breeding, while they're in the spawning run. Oh, we got a bite. All right, guys, well, we're about to wrap it up over here for today. Nice channel catfish and a surprise striper.
Well, I hope that you learned something out of this video about catching channel catfish in the spring in tidal rivers. If you did learn something from this and I was able to help you catch more catfish, that is the goal of this video. And if you're interested in more catfishing adventures, I highly recommend that you subscribe down below, give a thumbs up to this video, and I will see you next time. Well, on that note, Catterman out! Wait a moment. Oh. And if you want to know anything about the gear that I was using, again, check down in the description, whether it's line strength, rod size, weight, and bait. All right, see you next time.